and welcome to Access Asia here on France 24. I'm Will Hildebrand. Coming up, a generation after the Afghan Taliban was toppled, women fear concessions to make peace could mean the country's future may echo its past. Bred for success in Nepal, the country's tiger population has doubled over the past decade thanks to efforts by the military and volunteers. And surfing is booming in Japan, and executives are on board. We'll take a look at why the sport is thriving in the workaholic culture. Well, with chances of peace in Afghanistan, many are wondering what a post-conflict society would look like there, and if a deal between the Taliban and today's less restrictive government would bring with it unwelcome remnants of the past for the country's women. Haximars Belkin reports.
Mina owns and manages a cafe in Kabul. When the Taliban were in power, their strict interpretation of Sharia law forced women out of public life and behind closed doors. Now that the insurgents could be about to hold peace talks with the government, Mina is afraid.
I think freedom for women post-Taliban has been a huge achievement. And if we now go backwards, well, it would be a huge step in the wrong direction. It would be an extremely heavy price for us to pay.
18 years ago, the US invasion of Afghanistan led to the toppling of the Taliban. Over the years, the insurgents regrouped and now control vast swathes of the country. Nonetheless, under President Donald Trump, the US insists it's time to pull out all American troops. Women's fortunes have improved considerably under Afghanistan's post-Taliban constitution. Over 30% of school children are now girls, and a quarter of seats in parliament are reserved for women. Journalist Najwa Alemi is terrified that these gains could be lost if a post-conflict government includes the Taliban.
I won't accept a peace deal that asks me to go back and sit at home. I will raise my voice. I'll never be ready to accept a deal that costs me my freedom, restricts me, makes me wear a burqa and puts me in a cage. I won't accept a peace deal that brings stability but puts me in jail.
Others, however, are less wary, believing the Taliban understands that the world has changed since it last came to power in the mid-1990s.
This time round, the Taliban won't be the Taliban of previous years. I am sure their beliefs have changed. Also, there is a big difference between the way people are now and the way people were during the Taliban's rule. These days, people are educated. They don't ever want to return to the past.
The Afghan president has made it clear that direct talks with the Taliban are an important next step. For the country's women, however, hard-won freedoms are not a price they're willing to pay for peace.
Shanghai's airport has installed state-of-the-art facial recognition technology. Officials say it will make busy hubs safer and more efficient, but privacy advocates say it's another step in the wrong direction. Cole Stengler has more.
Shanghai's Hongqiao International, one of the busiest of China's 62 airports. In 2017, 40 million passengers traveled through its ultra-modern terminal. It's also home to new facial recognition technology and now takes just 12 seconds to pass security checks.
I'm Chinese and facial recognition is on the rise here.
I'm not used to, and for me it's a kind of stressful, like to be always like under control. But I think it's something we have to use to. It's something that maybe in the future, like for our children.
It all starts with these self-service machines. There are 28 of them. Cameras record the faces of passengers. The machine scans travelers' ID cards. Then it generates the boarding pass.
It's practical. We don't have to wait in line anymore.
Each time you take a plane, you're giving your information anyways. I have no problem with facial recognition.
There's no doubt the system has made everything faster for these 3 passengers. They've received their tickets and checked in their baggage in less than 2 minutes.
Here, the system is confirming that the information from the ID card corresponds to the passenger and the luggage.
In this airport, technology has replaced workers, from airline employees to security guards. It means Sophie Chan can get on her flight with only minimal human interaction.
I think it's more efficient and time-saving because you can arrive at the airport like 1 hour early before the flight. It's quite fast.
Our system allows us to compare the data on an ID card with biometric data like facial features. So there's less manpower and less human error.
The software's error rate, 1 out of 100,000. It's 1,000 times more accurate than humans. No wonder why China's gone all in. Privacy advocates, for their part, are more skeptical. They say the technology gives authorities more power to track citizens.
Almost a decade ago, an international coalition of 13 countries came together for a specific goal: double the world's tiger population by 2022. But they are far from meeting that target, though one country does stand out for its successful conservation efforts: Nepal. Erin Ogunkeye explains.
The elusive animals are not easy to spot. Any chance of seeing them requires an early start, a silent river crossing, or a long drive deep into a Nepalese forest. These tourists have come from all over the world in hopes of spotting one of the planet's largest predators.
So look at here, there is scratch mark on the tree trunk. It's done by tiger. This is her core area or her territory.
Around 100 Bengal tigers roam southern Nepal's Chitwan National Park, but they're notoriously evasive. After 4 hours, not one tiger in sight.
I'm not too disappointed that we haven't seen one, but that would be a bonus, of course, if we did. But we know that they're around, so they've probably seen us.
But hope is not lost. There's a more discreet method to observing the big cats. The park is filled with surveillance cameras. Over the past decade, the park has set a conservation project into motion, an unprecedented initiative in Nepal. And it's a fruitful undertaking. There are now 235 Bengal tigers in the country, double the population of 10 years ago. This all thanks to a strong commitment from the government and support from the military.
If you see any poachers and any illegal activities, we have RRT, Rapid Response Team here. Okay, we deploy the team, we send it to the place where we see any activities.
Soldiers patrol the forest daily. There's no shortage of threats. Illegal logging, which destroys the tiger's natural habitat, but above all, poaching. It's a lucrative enterprise.
It can be the bones, it can be the skins, it can be even the whiskers. Everything is sold, or it has maybe value in the illegal black market.
The military carries out the defensive portion, while others are tasked with prevention. Potential poachers could be among the inhabitants of surrounding villages.
As you may know, there have been numerous incidents in the region.
These volunteers go door to door to convince the villagers to help protect the tigers.
At the beginning, it was extremely difficult to get people to understand. But when I mentioned the potential for tourism and the money that comes with that, the task becomes much easier.
The result, the poaching of Bengal tigers in Nepal, is now a thing of the past. A glimmer of hope then for the majestic creatures who remain threatened elsewhere in Asia.
Now, you may not think of Japan as a surfer's paradise, but that could change one day. The sport is booming, and more people are using it as a way to blow off steam at the end of a long work week. Ellen Gainsford has the details.
It's one of the most popular surf spots in Japan, and it's in the center of a city. In Tokyo, this artificial wave has hundreds of visitors each day. Some are beginners, others have plenty of experience. Like 24-year-old Yuna. Come rain or shine, she's keen to surf.
It's not Hawaii, but it's a great wave to surf.
A 1-hour session costs €48. Equipment is included in the price. The artificial wave can reach from 80 centimeters to 1 meter 20 centimeters high. Surfing is booming in Japan, and surf shops are popping up all over the capital. It's not just young rebels who are picking up a board. Some of these suited and booted workers surf in their spare time. Many are 40, 50, or even 60 years old.
Hello, welcome to my bar. Come in.
Takako Itsuki has 2 jobs. By day, she works in a gallery. In the evening, she runs a bar in the business district. Her clients are executives who are exhausted from 50-hour working weeks. While they have a whiskey to relax, her indulgence is surfing.
I'm lucky I work near to where I live. Our lives are so stressful. Since I started surfing every weekend, everything's better.
Just an hour by car from the capital, Shonan Beach is a favorite surf spot for many people from Tokyo. It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning in December, and the water is already packed. Surfing is growing in popularity in the land of the rising sun, where there's now at least 2 million surfers. Like Takako, who swapped her kimono for a wetsuit.
I come here to recharge my batteries. I couldn't imagine my working week without coming to the beach every Sunday.
In Japan, surfing is more than just a sport, it's a philosophy. Takako started 2 years ago, when she was already over 50 years old. Now she's like a fish in the water.
On this beach, there are more and more 40 or 50-year-olds. Nearly more than young surfers.
I come here to clean my body and my spirit after a hard week of work, and it does me a lot of good.
This way of life is seducing more and more city dwellers, like 58-year-old producer Ichiro Mukai.
Here we can breathe. Surfing is freedom. All my friends who are still living in Tokyo are jealous of me.
Ichiro moved to this traditional house with his wife and daughter. There's more space, and it's less expensive than living in town. But his main motivation was surfing. It's a way for him and many other Japanese people to find their zen.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.
Versailles, the Louvre, Mont Saint-Michel are well-known stars of French heritage. But French genius and France harbors many other hidden treasures. The arts, gastronomy, architecture, as well as nature's wonders. Come along with France 24. Discover France's living heritage. From young apprentices to accomplished craftsmen and farmers, to Michelin star sporting chefs. Meet these people whose passion for their professions preserve and drive French heritage.
You are here on France 24 and France24.com.